20th presentation, nobody bought. Most people jump to the erroneous conclusion that sales doesn't work or I'm not good. No, you just haven't yet found your average.
Here we go. You see, I got where I am because someone reached out a hand. Help me to stand, be an independent man. Because I'm standing on the shoulders of a giant. The shoulders of a giant, y'all. I'm thankful.
All right, so I'm going to start with the biggest mistake people make when selling. The 5 biggest mistakes people make when they are selling. It's not in the book. So you can write it in your notebook, but this is not in the book. I had somebody ask me a question yesterday. So this is a person who was on the original, like the first episode of the American Idol show. He came in as runner-up, and he now is an entrepreneur who's a brilliant performer, a brilliant singer, all of that. But he asked me this question yesterday. He sent me a message on Instagram. He said, Myron, what are the 3 biggest mistakes people make when selling? And I couldn't just give him 3 because there are literally 5 mistakes that if you make these mistakes, it's like if you're not making money in sales, one of these is your problem if all of them are not. And the first one is thinking that selling is something you do to people instead of something you do for them. That's number 1. Thinking that selling is something you do to people instead of something you do for them is the number 1 selling mistake in the world. Selling is not something you do to people. Yes, I know you get paid. But if you are good, if you're what? Good. Everybody, if you're what? Good. If you are good, they receive more. Do you understand? I have a $155,000 coaching program. Oh, Myron, my goodness. Oh, $155,000. Oh my goodness. That's so much money. Is it? I have students who've been with me for less than a year who never even had this thought enter their head before they met me. And they've generated over $1 million in revenue in their business in a day. If you gave me $155,000 and I gave you $1 million, would you take that deal? Now let me ask you a question. Who got the long end of that stick? You or me? Everybody say I did. That's my point. And you have to, because you're the business owner, you have to sit down and think. What's the word I just used? Think about solutions that change other people's lives so you can get paid 1/10 of their result and their life is changed forever. How many of y'all picked up what I just put down? Say yes. Okay, that was really weak. How many of y'all picked up what I just put down? Say yes. Yes. By the way, I already know this stuff. You do not learn by listening to me talk, right? That's just the genesis of your learning. In order for you to learn, you got to get involved in the game. If I say it, you might get it. You might not. But if you say it, you have to get it. We always hear ourselves. In fact, some of the things I'm going to say today, you're not going to hear me because you're going to be busy listening to yourself. So when I get you to say something to yourself, that means that thing is important, and you should say it. Who should say it? Everybody tap yourself on the chest, say, I should. Very good. Okay, so that's the first mistake. Thinking that selling is something you do to people, not realizing that it's something you do for them. Second biggest mistake. By the way, so when you're good and you sell something, the person you sold it to did not do you a favor. You did them one. Do you understand? Okay, you want to get your business to the place where if somebody writes you a check for $1 million, you want to get so good at selling where if somebody writes you a check for $1 million, it doesn't change your lifestyle or your life at all. Yeah, it changes how much money you have, but there comes a point where you make so much money, spending it is no longer an option. You have to now just figure out other stuff to do with it besides spend it, because otherwise you won't have anywhere to put all that stuff. How many of y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Wave at me. Say, hi, Myron. Hi, Myron. Okay, so the biggest mistake people make in selling is thinking that selling is something you do to people. And by the way, that's what the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism programs us to believe, that when somebody sells something to you, they're doing something to you. Has anybody in here ever been hungry? Right? Did you go and you went to a restaurant, maybe they sold you some food? Did you feel like they did something to you? Right? Has anybody in here ever been cold? Right? And then maybe a utility company sold you some gas or some electricity, right? So you could warm up your house, and you walk in your house and you feel warm. Did anybody feel like the utility company did something to them? No. So where did we get this idea that selling is something we do to people and not something we do for them? We got it from the media, from what I call the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism. What does that mean? Cultural hypnotic societal mechanism. It means in our culture, so I'm going to write it like this. The CHISM, the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism. In our culture, most people are walking around in a hypnotic trance. They're literally living in somebody else's dream, building somebody else's dream, and they think they're awake, but they're actually asleep. So our culture is full of people who are asleep who think they're awake. And it affects almost our entire society, and it is a mechanism that was built to keep you enslaved in that dream. And the objective of the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism is to make us sick, broke, misinformed, and fearful. And I said fearful, but the real word is anxious, and I'll get into that more later. Make us sick, broke, misinformed, and anxious. The cultural hypnotic societal mechanism wants us to be sick, broke, misinformed, and anxious, worried, have anxiety attacks, because people who are sick, broke, misinformed, and anxious are easier to control than people who are well, rich, well-informed, and courageous. And the whole thing is built, the whole mechanism is built to maintain control over your life, your mind, your family's life, your family's mind, your friends' lives, your friends' minds. And what you've got to do is you've got to break free from the CHISM. It's mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing to me. Like, I personally, I love my family, so sometimes I'll do things with my wife and my children that I don't really like to do because they like to do it, right? Because I love my family and I like hanging out with them. So one of the things that they like to do is they like to go to the movies. And I'm not crazy about it. I'm generally speaking, most movies are terrible. Maybe the worst movies of all the movies in the world are superhero movies. They are like horrible on so many levels that, oh man, it's such a great movie. Really. Most superhero movies are designed to make people feel some sort of dignity in being broke the rest of their lives. What? You ever think about the fact that most of the major superheroes, in their origin story, they were poor little orphans? You ever think about that? Superman, poor little orphan. Spider-Man, poor little orphan. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, but Batman was a rich orphan. Right? How many of y'all were thinking that? Come on now. Nobody was thinking, okay, right. Okay, somebody had to be, like, Batman was a rich orphan. That's right. But Batman doesn't have any superpowers. He just has cool stuff. He can't fly. He can't spin a web any size. Catches thieves just like flies. Look out. Here comes Spider-Man. Right? Poor little orphans. But that's not the worst part. All of their arch enemies are multimillionaires or multi-billionaires. So one of the things you have to understand, first of all, you have to understand what's being done to you, and you have to understand better not only how the cultural hypnotic societal mechanism is communicating to you, but you got to understand better how to communicate to other people. When you watch a movie, it's not just called a movie because it has moving pictures. It's called a movie because it's designed to move you from where you are to exactly where they want you to be on the chessboard. Are y'all picking up what I'm putting down? And so Lex Luthor, the multimillionaire, is Superman's archenemy. They always assign a negative aspect to wealth, and they always assign some virtuous aspect to poverty. There's nothing virtuous about poverty. Poverty is sickness and devastation. Is that too strong? Okay. So, Spider-Man's archenemy, the Green Goblin, he's not a multimillionaire, he's a multi-billionaire who has a corporation that makes stuff that kills people. We've got to stop him. Do you understand? That is the theme of all the, most of the Mission Impossible movies. Most of the movies people love, the theme is we've got to stop these evil business people who start these evil corporations and kill people for profit. We must stop them. And we wonder why when our children grow up, Nobody wants to be a business owner because all of the movies they watch their whole life have programmed them that people who make money are evil on a subconscious level. When the movie makers are telling stories, they are telling two stories simultaneously. They are telling the overt story. That's the stuff where all the stuff is blowing up and people are getting shot and like all the really cool stuff happens in the scenes. That's the overt story. That's the story they're telling to your conscious mind. And the only reason that story exists is so they can sneak in the message to your subconscious mind. Their objective is to make you feel a certain way so that you will behave in that certain way you feel. And that's called the covert story. The covert story of the movie. Every time you watch a television show or a movie from now on, ask yourself, what are they making me feel? Then, when you answer that question, you will know the real objective of the movie. How many of y'all just had an aha? Right? And so what we've got to do is we've got to protect our mind space, right? And we must learn to feed the allies and starve the adversaries. Mentally, physically, financially, and in every aspect of our lives, we got to feed the adversaries and feed the allies and fight the adversaries. And most of us have been programmed our whole life to do the exact opposite. That's why most people in the United States of America and most other countries don't even have the ability to think. In fact, if a thought gets anywhere near their minds, they chase it away with a stick. So, by the way, another little caveat for those of you who are interested in like the whole overarching ideology of Hollywood. It's amazing to me how they create problems and then try to act like they want to solve the problems they created. Right? Like they talk about, we've got to end gun violence. First of all, there's no such thing as gun violence. And I know people disagree with me, but that's okay. They've been wrong before. They'll be wrong again. There's no such thing as gun violence. I've never seen a violent gun. There's people violence, and sometimes people use guns for their violence. And sometimes they use sticks, and sometimes they use baseball bats, and sometimes they use cars, and sometimes they use knives. But nobody's talking about car violence. Your dad's a pastor, right, Andy? Do you remember the couple that was in his church? This was maybe 15 years ago, and the guy got mad at his wife, and he ran over her 7 times. Remember that? He was little. Ran over her 7 times in a car. I've never heard anybody talk about car violence. But he killed his wife with a car. It's not guns that kill people, it's people that kill people. Why do people kill people? Because in the movies, they make it look like it's not that big of a deal. Where do they get the idea? If it doesn't start in here, nothing comes out of any of this until it starts in here. And in the movies, they will kill innocent people by the dozen just because they happen to be in the way of the person who's on the way to do the thing. They'll shoot the janitor, they'll shoot the maid, they'll shoot the teller at the bank, they'll shoot the mother with the baby pushing the stroller down the street just because they're in the way and they think guns are the problem. Maybe all these stupid images that people are putting in their minds are the problem. Hollywood creates the problem, and then they want to protest, oh, we should get rid of guns. Hey, maybe we should get rid of movies. Hashtag just saying. Problem number 2. Most entrepreneurs don't make enough offers. I'm going to tell you the shortcut to success in any business. Everybody ready? Say, I'm ready. Make more offers. But Myron, I'm not good at making offers. Good. You want to get better at making offers? Make more offers. But people are saying no. Oh, great. People are saying no? Make more offers. There's a law. What's it called? A law in selling called the law of averages. What's it called? The law of averages. It applies to everyone who is in sales, everyone who ever will be in sales, and everyone who's ever been in sales. It's called the law of averages. And guess what? The law of averages states out of every so many presentations you do, you're going to have an average of X number of sales. So let's say your sales percentage, your average is terrible, like woefully awful, like so bad that You're like, why am I even doing this? And it takes you 100 presentations to make one sale. That's pretty bad average. But it's an average and it's a law. So the question is, how long do you want it to take you to make 10 sales? If your law of averages is I make one sale out of 100, if I make 100 presentations in a day, I can make a sale every day. But if because I didn't make a sale on the first opportunity, and the second presentation, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and sixth, and seventh, and eighth, and ninth, and 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th presentation, nobody bought. Most people jump to the erroneous conclusion that sales doesn't work or I'm not good. No, you just haven't yet found your average. And see, most people in sales are not willing to stay in the activity of making offers long enough while they're bad to eventually get good. Congratulations to you. I didn't quit when I had a horrible average. Because when I got started in sales in 1985, I was terrible. No, I wasn't terrible. I was that thing that's way worse than terrible. I started in the same industry that my nephew is in, the insurance industry. I did presentation after presentation after presentation after presentation after presentation after presentation after presentation from 1985, from October of 1985 until April of 1987 before I made my first sale. And you know what people were asking me? Why are you still doing that thing? Well, because the people that I know that are successful doing this thing make $10,000 a month, $30,000 a month, $50,000 a month in 1985. And I can quit and do that thing you do, and the people who are the best in the world at what you do make $30,000 a year. I think I like my chances. I don't care how long it takes. See, selling is a skill worth developing. See, wealth is the result of assets. Income follows assets. Did I say that too fast? You're an accountant, right? You know, I didn't exaggerate that at all, did I, Susan? Income follows assets. You got no assets, you got no income. Wealth follows assets. You want to accumulate wealth? Accumulate assets. Where do I get assets from? That's the question. That's the question. Assets are built, are created, are accumulated, and they start with mindset. So mindset, I get the mindset of what? Oh, I'm going to keep on doing this till I figure it out. That's the first mindset. Like, I didn't stick my toe in the water. I jumped in head first, and I ain't getting out until I learn how to swim. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. I'm about to win the championship. And I might not win it this year, and I might not win it next year, I might not win it the year after that, but I promise you, before I die, and probably before you die, I'm winning a championship. Because that's my mindset. I didn't get in this game to try to win it. I didn't get in this game hoping I would figure it out. I got in this game knowing one day I will win. And by the way, I don't care if it's a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because a year, 2 years, 10 years, 5 years, it's going to come anyway. And when it comes, the answer is not whether or not it's going to come. The answer is when it comes, did I win or did I lose? And I already decided I'm winning. And I don't care what else happens. Other people figured it out, I'll figure it out. Mindset. Then what happens? The mindset is I'm going to stick with this, and I'm going to do it when it feels like it's not working. Notice what I said. I didn't say when it's not working. I said what? When it what? Feels like it's not working. Why did I say that? I'm going to let y'all in on one of the most amazing principles I've ever discovered in my career in selling. Would y'all like to know what that is? Everybody say yes, yes, yes. Okay. All work works. There's no such thing as work that doesn't work. It's impossible for me to work on something that doesn't work. Wait, let me say that again because I said it kind of fast. It is impossible for me to work on something that doesn't work. What does that mean? Well, work is a two-sided coin. How many sides? How many sides? work is a two-sided coin. If I flip the coin of work and it lands on tails, it's working on me. If it lands on heads, it's working for me. And when I flipped that coin for the first year and a half, it landed on tails. Tails, 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 tails. Heads you win, tails you lose. Heads you win, tails you lose. Lose, 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 lose. At least that's what other people thought. But see, they didn't understand. I didn't get in the business to land on heads. I got in the business to learn how to flip the coin. And I'm going to keep on flipping that coin until I figure out how to make it land on heads 7 out of 10 times. How many of y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Wow, I just got chills. I never said that before. That was so good. I never said that before. Like, that was really juicy. Let's go. Keep on flipping the coin. I got into business to learn how to flip the coin. And now I'm so good at flipping the coin, I sometimes make millions of dollars an hour. And I know that sounds insane. It sounds insane when I say it. But it's so cool to know it's true. Yeah. What? Baby. Baby. There are professional athletes who don't make as much money as me in their best year. There are professional athletes who don't make as much in their best years I make in my in one of my not-so-best months. Why? Because I learned how to flip the coin. And I didn't stop flipping when my thumb got tired. I didn't stop flipping just because it kept landing on tails. And I started to wonder, is there a heads on this coin? Oh, there's a heads, but I got to find it. All work works. There's the work it does on me, and there's the work it does for me. And I'm going to, unlike most people who when it doesn't work for them, they think it's not working, I let it keep on working on me until it eventually worked for me. And that's what I'm here to challenge you to do. Make more offers. Because every time you make an offer, you get better at making offers. And guess what? The question is, how long do you want it to take you to get good? Because you can take 100 years to do 100 offers and find one, or you can get put in 100 offers today and find your average. And it might not take you 100. I don't know how many it took me, but here's what I know it took. It took a lot, but I didn't quit. I lasted through the learning curve. The reason people don't make enough offers, one, they think selling is something you do to people and it makes them feel yucky. By the way, do you know why people feel yucky when they're making offers? Because they're a terrible buyer. And they assume that other people are as terrible as buyers as they are. And so they don't want to make anybody feel like, they don't want people to feel about them like they feel about other people when they make offers to them. That's why I love salespeople. I love to see a good presentation whether I buy or not. I don't get offended when people try to sell me stuff. In fact, when somebody's working on selling something to me, I lean in. You know why? Because I know something good's about to happen. Either I'm going to see a great presentation, and I'm going to see something I desire to buy, or I'm going to see the worst presentation I've ever seen, or one of the worst presentations I've ever seen, and I'm going to learn what not to do. So I love it when somebody tries to sell something to me. Yes, sell me something, please. While I walk in the store, somebody says, "Can I help you?" I don't say, "No, I'm just looking." Right? Instead of saying that, I say, "You know what? As a matter of fact, you can. As a matter of fact, you can help me. I am looking for X, Y, Z." And I let them know in all of my energy, I am one of the best buyers who will ever walk in your energy orbit. Treat me good. You are going to have a great day, baby. Why? Because every thought is a seed. Every word is a seed. Every deed is a seed that I'm sowing into the garden of my future. And if I sow good seeds today, I'll reap a good harvest tomorrow. And if I think good thoughts about the salespeople who are selling me stuff, the people I sell stuff to are going to think good thoughts about me. This is so cool. Are y'all seeing it? Are you seeing how this all works and it starts in here? So I have the right mindset. That gives me the ability to develop the right skill set. Why? Because I keep doing it. And eventually I get good at it. So mindset, skill set, and then the things you offer to people, tool set. Mindset, skill set, tool set, asset. Mindset plus skill set plus tool set equals asset. Mindset plus skill set plus tool set equals assets. And then here come the money. Mindset plus skill set plus tool set equals assets. And then what? Here comes the money. And the only reason the money exists The purpose, the real reason the money exists is to give you the opportunity to develop the mindset, develop the skill set, find the tool set so you can produce the assets. The assets are here as an incentive for you to become a better version of yourself. That's the real payoff. Whew. So, they don't make enough offers. That's one of the problems. The next one is trying to find people to sell their stuff to is the third one. So let's write that on there. This is the third biggest mistake people make in selling. Trying to find buyers. I don't ever do that. Guess what? I didn't call Mike and say, Mike, can I speak at Monetizing Traffic Live? I didn't call Russell Brunson and say, hey, Russell, can I speak at Funnel Hacking Live? I don't have to ask people. Did anybody see the podcast I was just interviewed on recently, Social Proof? Mark, you saw it. Laura saw it. Okay. Anyway, I was interviewed on this podcast called Social Proof Podcast. It went up. It'll be 3 weeks ago tomorrow. As of this morning, it has 61,000 views in 3 weeks. That's an average of about 20,000 views a week. It's a lot, right? I didn't call David Chance and say, hey, can I be on your podcast? Did you see what just happened? I didn't say that. He called me and said, hey, can I interview you for my podcast? By the way, he charges $10,000 for people who ask him if they can be on his podcast. You just got an idea, didn't you? Like, hey, we can start a podcast and charge people to be on our podcast. Well, I hope y'all got that idea. And so I didn't pay him. He didn't charge me anything to be on his podcast. Yet and still, he already made, just on the front end so far, almost $15,000 from me. He made almost $15,000 from me being on his podcast so far. So, Myron, why is trying to find buyers, why is that one of the mistakes? Because, Myron, where do I find people to sell my stuff? Where do I find people to sell my stuff to? Where do I find people to sell my stuff to? Stop looking for people to sell your stuff to and make yourself findable for people who already want to buy what you sell. Become more findable. And for those of you who know SEO, like, what could be easier than that? Make yourself findable. Wow. I can't believe I never thought of that before. Do you realize that there are people, how many of you already right now, you, in this room, you already know something you are looking forward to buying when? And you can put whatever, when I have time, when I have the money, when I get to a certain income level. How many of you know, I want to buy XYZ when? Raise your hand. Something. Okay, look around this room, y'all. Everybody in this room has a desire to buy something when. Now, what you got to do is figure out how to be the person they find who sells the thing they want to buy when they want to buy it. Far more important than finding people to sell stuff to is being findable for people who want to buy your stuff. One of the reasons I make so much money, one of the main reasons I make so much money is because I am very findable. Let me ask you a question. When you Google your name, how many pages of Google do you take up? Is that a good question? You take up 4. That's what I'm talking about. When people Google your name, and when on those 4 pages, they probably know exactly what you do. Why is it so important? Why is it so important that when people Google your name, they know they can find what you're known for? You're so findable because when you say, hi, my name's Myron Golden, they say, I never heard of that person before. Let me Google them. If there's something noteworthy about you, if you tell people you're in a business, the very first thing they're going to do is they're going to Google you. When they Google you, do they discover that you are the best in the world or one of the best in the world at providing the value you provide, or do they find out that you don't exist on the internet as somebody who provides the value they're looking for? Is that a good question? I think that right there, I mean, we could probably end this right now, go to the house, and y'all be all right. Right? And we got a whole bunch more time to go. Okay, so I'm going to give you, so that was 3. I'm going to give you 4 and 5, and then we're going to take a break because I know you're probably feeling like your head's about to explode. And we haven't even gotten into the book yet. Yeah, if y'all could listen faster, I could talk faster. Okay. I said that was 3. I think that was 4. That was 4, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, okay, we'll make that 3. That was 3. That was 3. Here's 4. Here's 4. Ooh, big mistake. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. Y'all ready? Selling what? Huge mistake. You want to sell. Huge mistake. Selling what you want to sell. Instead of selling what other people want to buy. I don't want to sell what I want to sell. I only want to sell what people want to buy. If they don't want to buy it, I don't want to sell it. And if they do want to buy it, I want to be the first person they find and the best in the world at selling that result to them. Stop trying to sell people what you want to sell them and only sell them what they want to buy. I was literally sitting in a restaurant one day. This was probably 20 years ago. Sitting in a restaurant one day, going over some of my sales notes, working on some of my projections, blah, blah, blah. Somebody said, "Excuse me, sir, are you in sales?" I said, "As a matter of fact, I am." "How did you know?" They said, "Well, I could just tell." He said, "What do you sell?" I said, "Oh, it depends. What do you want to buy?" That literally happened. Why would I want to sell anything else? I got a buyer asking me what I sell. Okay, this is probably the worst one of all, and the last one I'm going to give you. By the way, if y'all stop doing these 5 things, if I don't teach you anything else, if you just stop doing these 5 things, like his own, like Donkey Kong. I got that from Laura. Okay, so I'm like, how are you old enough to know what Donkey Kong is? Anyway, that's okay. So this is the worst one of all. This one's really costing you a lot of money. Trying to get people to buy. Trying to get people to buy is a selling mistake. It's like a disaster. Hey, Myron, how's that a disaster? By the way, Zach and Laura, can y'all remind me to turn this part of this presentation into a lead magnet that we give away? Okay. In fact, one that we sell. We need to sell it for $27, $47, something. This whole presentation I just did. Okay, cool. What do I mean trying to get people to buy is a mistake in selling? Well, if you feel like I want you to buy something, doesn't that make you feel a little resistant? Like, what are they trying to get from me? So trying to get people to buy is actually one of the reasons people don't buy. So what you got to do, instead of trying to get people to buy, you have to figure out how to create an environment that makes people feel like buying. Stop trying to get people to buy and instead create an environment that makes people feel like buying. Notice I didn't say makes people want to buy. Makes people feel like buying. Everybody say feel. Feel. Create an environment that makes people feel like buying. And that's what I do. I create an environment that makes people feel like buying. When you create an environment that makes people feel like buying, there's one thing you can do to add nitrous oxide. That's the word, nitrous oxide to the mix, and now you can go way faster. Y'all want to know what that is? Create an environment that makes people feel like buying from you at any price. When you create an environment that makes people feel like buying from you at any price, then there's nothing you can't do, there's nothing you can't own, there's no place you can't go, there's nothing you can't afford. It changes everything.